The first major mistake that good women make that leads them to being broke is they do not know where their money is going. They do not know what happens when the money comes in. I mean, if this is you, if come month end, you're sitting around and asking yourself, what happened to my paycheck? What happened to the windfall that I received? If you received a windfall, someone gave you some money, like unexpectedly you got maybe 50,000 rand, and then you don't know what you did with that money. You're making a major mistake. You're making a major mistake, and that leads you to a path where you're going to be broke. And I'm going to tell you how to avoid that. You need to have a system of how to steward your money. Because if you've got no system of stewardship, money will go wherever. You won't know where it went, it will disappear, and you'll be complaining at the end of the day and being like, why am I broke? You are broke because you didn't steward your money. You are meant to steward your money. And what does that mean? It means take care of your money. And basics, budget templates, monitoring systems, automating your spending or budgeting systems. I know others talk, in the past they used to talk about pay yourself first, meaning put money aside for savings first before you spend. But I would say the general principle of finance everywhere, live well within your means so that you've got extra money aside for investing and saving. Just applying those basics for your life, it's going to make a whole lot of difference in your personal finances. You will move from not being broke to actually realizing, I got some money. I could do something with this money. So it's the basics of accounting, basically. That's what I would say. Accounting for your money as it comes in, having a proper system of knowing where it goes and pre-planning before it comes in, where is it going to go. There's a nice book which I would recommend for you on basics of personal finance. That's The Richest Man in Babylon. It's a very easy read. The Richest Man in Babylon talks about living off 70% of your income, 10% being what you put away for charity, 10% being what you save for investment to grow yourself, to expand your business, to expand things, but to invest. I think the other 10% is for what? It's for saving for a rainy day. It puts it like that. So simple. If you can do that for yourself, you will see, you'll be able to have a feel for what's going on in your finances, and you'll avoid making the mistake of just money came in, money gone, I don't know what I did with my money. We have to step out of that mindset. We have to be good stewards of the money that God gives us so that we can grow the money and it can become more and more and more. We know the story in the Bible of the parable of the talents in Matthew, right? Where Jesus is talking about this parable where the man, he had 3 servants, he gave them according to their abilities some money as he was going away. To one he gave 1 talent, to the other he gave 2 talents, I think the other gave 5 talents. And what we see is the one with 5 talents, he went and traded with the money, grew it, came back with 10. The other with 2, grew it, came back with what? 4. And the other one, he hid his talent and he didn't do anything. But what we see is that when the master came back, he was very happy with the work that the other ones did in terms of growing their money and being good stewards and trading and growing with it. But the one whom he hid, he was so upset, he took that 1 talent and gave it to the one who had 5. So the whole basics of that story is talking about being good steward of what you have, but trading with what you've got so that it grows. So let's avoid the first mistake, guys, which is not knowing what's going on with our mind. We need to have a system in place for that. let's move on to the second mistake. Let's see. The second mistake that Go women make when it comes to their finances, and that leads them to being broke. This one is tough. It's women thinking, my husband will make the money, I'll just spend it. Or I'm just going to marry a rich guy and then I'm just going to be sorted from the rest of my life. There's this TikTok trend. I'm looking for a guy in finance, 6'5", blue eyes, trust fund, yeah. What can I say about this one, guys? This one is very deep. I would say that throughout generations, women have fought for financial independence of women because they have seen, guys, all the women that came before us have seen that being financially dependent on a man is not good for a woman. If you've got a husband who is providing and who's a good husband, we say praise God, we thank God for that, and we celebrate that for you, but I still say it's very important for each woman to be able to have their own financial independence, your own ability to create your own money, your own income. You cannot overestimate that importance. That is very important. I just feel like what I come across in younger women, maybe some naively thinking that men are going to save them from their finances. I'm just going to say, step out of that mindset. It's a mistake to believe a man is going to save you when it comes to finances. It's a mistake to believe that all you got to do is just to be pretty and then all your financial troubles will be taken care of. I think God didn't really want us to be just beauties and with no brains. He gave us brains for a reason, and I feel it is so important to make sure that you are financially set. But when we look at the trends, I have to say things are changing. We're seeing a lot more women being empowered. We're seeing a lot more women being boss babes, running their own businesses and doing things. So there is a good trend in that direction. But I will say, don't get stuck in thinking that you're going to get a guy who's going to take care of you and you don't have to take care of your own personal finances, or you don't have to develop yourself, because it starts with self-development so that you can make sure you are financially savvy, you can take care of self when it comes to finances, because you've taken the time to learn skills that help you to generate wealth. I wrote here something which is important, that you gain respect for you gain respect even from yourself if you make your own money. It's important. You have self-respect if you make your own money. You are not. It's just good for a woman to do that. So don't make a mistake of thinking you don't have to make money. You have to just depend on the husband. And there is a case for financial intimacy in married couples. I would agree to that. But even within that, I still advocate for a woman to be able to make her money, and the man to also be able to make his money. But even though there's financial intimacy because it's a marriage, but a woman must also be able to make her own money. That's just what I would say. Because you never know where this life may lead, you know. What if you lose your husband, then you don't have an ability to make your own money, you know? Because even if it's not divorce, something can happen. So it's good for women to know how to make their own money. So don't make the mistake of thinking you're just going to be a pretty face and you're just going to wait for your knight in shining armor to bring in all the money, and you don't have to think about it. In fact, making money is easier than that, and I feel like if you just apply yourself, you can do well for yourself. The third thing, this is the last one I'm going to talk about. It's a mistake that women make. They don't learn how to grow their money. They don't learn how to invest. Avoid that mistake. You have to learn how to grow your money. You have to learn how to invest. With anything that you don't know, it takes a bit of time or practice to learn how to do. Just like at some point you couldn't walk, it took you a bit of time to be able to walk. For at least maybe 9 months to 10 months of your life, you couldn't even walk. But eventually, I'm sure by 12 to 15 months, you're walking. So meaning, anything that you do not know, you have an ability to learn. So you mustn't think that you can't learn how to invest money. You can learn. You can learn different types of investment. It just takes you applying yourself. You can learn how to buy shares. You can learn what is the stock market. You can learn what are cryptocurrencies. You can learn what are property investments. I mean, property investment is still one of the greatest investments, or the greatest way in which ordinary people have become millionaires through property investment. Robert Kiyosaki writes a book about it. In fact, one of the most famous books on personal finance, The Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But I'm just saying, you can learn these things. So don't feel like, I can't learn how to do things. You can. You can. I'm going to end there. Thank you so much for watching.